of faith in action. And in my Christmas Eve message, I said we need to think big and to commit to act on our dreams in our daily lives. And we have already seen the benefit of thinking big in a remarkably rapid development of COVID-19 vaccine. Then I said, now it is our moral duty to share our vaccine know-how in the world and to ensure that vaccines must be for the public good and not for profit. So this letter really touches the heart of our faith across different spectrums. We say knowledge comes from God. And so we are appealing to Dr. Fauci and all those Americans that have co-founded, that are co-owning and co-sponsored and co-developed the vaccines to say the money that is used belongs to the people. And your Americans are not only an isolated village, but we belong to one village. Can you use whatever you have at your means to talk to the World Trade Organization, to look at issues of intellectual properties and ensure that intellectual property is not only for profit. And when it's for profit, as you can imagine, the global south is going to be totally cut off. We're only going to use the most important non-pharmaceutical interventions, which are important. But we are saying we need both non-pharmaceutical interventions and pharmaceutical interventions. And we are saying solidarity must be the order of the day. And so we should not have what we call in the letter apartheid vaccines, where those that have money and the know-how get the vaccines, and those that do not have the money are left to die and to remain with the viral load. So that is really the essence. And then now, based on that, we are saying, can they prioritize the production scale up that the U.S. government seeks, not only for the U.S., but also for the wider world?
Yes. Now, also, Dr. Thabo, one major concern at this point in time is how much of the vaccines are we likely to receive? And your letter makes reference to South Africa receiving a fraction of the vaccines that need to bring this pandemic under control.
Yes, let's start just by applauding whoever is working within the government and the negotiators, and let's applaud the 1 million vaccines that arrived yesterday. It's a drop in the ocean, but it's a step in the right direction. But we are saying, if, like you said in the introduction, if we are to really attain the population immunity, we have to be ambitious, we have to be robust, we have to ensure that not only South Africa, but the continent. I mean, I'm the Archbishop that is based in Cape Town, but I'm Archbishop of Namibia, Angola, Lesotho, St. Helena, Swaziland, and Mozambique. And I can't say to some of our parishioners there, wait, continue doing non-pharmaceutical interventions and wait for South Africans only. So the letter talks about the urgency of getting, attaining that global population immunity, because this is not an African global south pandemic. It is a global pandemic and it needs a global solution. So our People's Vaccine Campaign is to really capture that sense that maybe let me deviate a bit for your listeners. This is not new. When there were the same debate around the ARVs for AIDS and the big farm was wanting to roll out ARVs according to status and geopolitical position. A number of South Africans, a number of people in the world said, no, you cannot exclude people on the basis of where they are. So we just appealing to the same moral obligation to those that have particularly Americans, to say, share so that this becomes a global population immunity drive, not an American drive or an English drive.
Yes, and also Dr. Thabo, talking about the morality of it all, and also your letter makes reference to a moral catastrophe that this actually represents, and at the same time highlighting serious concerns with regard to insufficient manufacturing capacity that exists right now. And this is where you have actually highlighted a number of actions that the US government can take immediately to try and remedy the situation in terms of upscaling manufacturing capacity, the issue of multiple licenses and the like.
Yes, maybe I could just really emphasize those. Thank you so much for going back to that. I mean, the practical steps, more than maybe the hope question, the motivation. I mean, we are clear in the letter. We say in the case of NHI Moderna vaccine, we've just said the U.S. government must act immediately to ensure that it prioritizes production scale-up that the U.S. government seeks, not only for itself, but also for the wider world. We said NHI Moderna should share the technology. That is what really I already said in my Christmas message. Share the technology and the vaccine know-how with the world during the pandemic, not after, and including with the World Health Organization. When I listened to the Director General of the World Health Organization saying this is a moral catastrophe, and when he gave the numbers of how much will the global south have, I mean, it really pains me, and it's a moral question. And we say that the U.S. government must commit to an indefinite low profit price for everyone. Price here is very important. We don't want people excluded on the basis of not affording and they die because they can't afford. We said that the U.S. government must immediately submit itself or through licenses, relevant clinical dossiers for ongoing regulatory review and approval in South Africa and other global south countries, and through sub-licenses. Sorry, that's Moderna. And we said multiple licenses, because the whole issue of licensing can be quite tricky. So we said multiple licenses should be issued to enable others to assist with urgently scaling up production and still benefit from earning a reasonable royalty. We're not saying, from a church's point of view, our radical position is the vaccine should be for the common good, period. There shouldn't be for profit. But we have to be reasonable. We say at least there should be some reasonable royalty. This is a global catastrophe, and we can't be quibbling about who will get the most profits. And I think those are the specific things. And those are really the moral issues that you can't not scale up in order to create a demand when people are dying.
Yes, and just finally, Dr. Thabo, I know this letter has been addressed to people like Dr. Fauci, but looking at the South African government, looking at our own government, our own health authorities, in terms of this content of this letter, will you be highlighting this these issues that we have been talking about to our very own government?
Oh no, definitely. We believe that charity begins at home, and we won't be shy in speaking, and we are speaking through the South African Council of Churches, through the interfaith groupings, through the NGOs, but through this letter, we were saying, like we did with ARVs, this is not a local pandemic that affects South Africa. It affects SADC, it affects all the economic blocks in the continent. It affects the global village. So the letter was really elevating and joining the others who are really pushing for people's vaccines. But as you say, charity begins at home, and that is why in the main, the letter also speak about production in South Africa and production in places where people can assist with scale up. We will definitely continue to raise these matters, and we are raising these matters through the relevant channels.
Well, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, it's been a pleasure talking with you this morning, and we definitely will keep our eyes and our ears open on these developments. But for now, we thank you for your time, and please take care of yourself. Please be safe, and all the best to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the interview, and please may your listeners also join in as we really agitate for people's vaccine.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Thabo Cecil Makgoba joining us this morning, and when we come back, we will be still staying on the vaccine discussions, and we'll be joined by Ashraf Patel.